This is 9/11 stories, real accounts of the people who lived it, so they're never forgotten. It's just before 6 in the morning at Logan International Airport, and you're standing in the dark outside the terminal, hugging your best friend goodbye. Her name is Ruth McCourt. Yours is Paige Farley-Hackel, 46 years old, from Newton, Massachusetts, a writer and motivational speaker who'd spent 16 years in recovery from substance abuse and had become a budding spiritual counselor. She had her own radio program called Spiritually Speaking and was about to launch its first episodes. Her husband Alan said her actual stated dream was to land a spot on Oprah within 2 years. She used to own a day spa in Boston. That's where she actually met Ruth. Ruth was 45, a homemaker from New London, Connecticut. Long red hair. She met Paige as a client at Paige's day spa. Gave up her own hairstyling spa work when she got married 6 years earlier, but the friendship outlasted the business. They called each other soul sisters and had been close for roughly a decade, not just travel buddies. They meditated together and had taken trips to Africa and other retreats. They had shared passions for reading, cooking. Ruth is the kind of friend you don't have to explain yourself to. You've known each other for years. The kind of friendship where you finish each other's sentences, where a phone call meant for 5 minutes turns into an hour. Ruth has her 4-year-old daughter Juliana on her hip, half asleep, a stuffed animal tucked under one arm. Nicknamed Miss J, her grandmother described her as already showing a little sense of wit at 4. Called her a nurturer like her mother. The plan was simple. Fly to California together. Surprise Juliana with her first trip to Disneyland. 1 flight, 3 seats, side by side, 6 hours of coloring books and inside jokes before reaching the happiest place on earth. It's 2001. This is before shoes come off at security. Before a boarding pass gets checked 3 separate times between the curb and the gate. You can walk your best friend almost all the way to their plane if you wanted to. Nobody would think twice about it. Except last night you noticed something. You've got a pile of frequent flyer miles sitting unused on a different airline. And this trip is exactly the kind of excuse to use those. It's the kind of conversation you have 1,000 times in a life and never remember afterwards. Which flight should we take? Does it even matter? We'll just meet at the baggage claim. Ruth laughs it off. It doesn't matter, she says. We'll see each other in California anyway. So you switch your ticket. Ruth and Juliana will fly United out of Logan, non-stop to LA. You'll fly American. Same airport, same morning, just a different gate, and about 20 minutes earlier. Same destination, same expected reunion waiting on the other end. Neither of you has any reason to think twice about it. It's just miles, it's just a gate number. You hug goodbye in the terminal the way you've hugged 100 times before. Overhead, the sky outside the windows is starting to turn that particular shade of clear blue that everyone in New York City and Boston will remember for a long time to come. It is, in this moment, the most ordinary morning in the world. Ruth heads towards her gate with Juliana still half asleep against her shoulder. You head towards yours. You board first. It's a mostly empty cabin this early on a Tuesday. Up toward the front, 5 men you've never spoken to are already in their seats. Quiet. You don't know their names. Nobody on the aircraft does. You find your seat, put your bag under the one in front of you, and settle in for a cross-country flight you've made 12 times before. You've got a legal pad in your bag, half full of notes for whatever you're speaking about next. Somewhere behind you, other passengers are doing the same ordinary morning. Closing their eyes, opening a newspaper, wondering if there's time to get coffee before the cart makes it back. The plane pushes back just before 8. Routine. A flight attendant runs through the safety demonstrations. Coffee service starts. Outside the window, the Massachusetts coastline slides away beneath the wing. And somewhere below you, 40 minutes behind you, at the same airport, Ruth and Juliana board their own flight. At 8:14 a.m., air traffic control asks your flight to climb to 35,000 feet. 16 seconds later, the cockpit goes silent. It never answers again. You don't know that yet, though. Not really. What you know, if you're sitting there where you are, is that something has gone wrong towards the front of the plane. You hear raised voices, a change in the air, the kind your body notices before your mind catches up. Maybe you look at the person next to you. There's no manual for this moment because nothing like it has happened on an American commercial flight before. Not like this. Not with box cutters. Not with the plan being the plane itself is the bomb instead of a ransom. There isn't much time. At 8:46 a.m., your plane strikes the North Tower of the World Trade Center. 17 minutes later, before anyone standing on a street corner in lower Manhattan has even finished processing what they just saw, a second plane banks hard over New York Harbor and crosses into the same skyline. It's a United plane. It's Ruth's plane. It's Juliana's. It strikes the South Tower. Two best friends who hugged goodbye in the dark outside Logan Airport that morning. Both gone within an hour. At two different towers. 400 feet away. Separated by one city block. They never made it to California. The trip they planned down to the seating arrangement ends up split minute for minute between two burning buildings neither woman ever expected to be inside. Juliana McCourt was 4 years old. She remains to this day one of the youngest people killed on September 11th. For days afterward, the two families searched separately, called hospitals separately, held on to hope separately, before either one learned the truth that the other woman's flight had gone down too that same morning, in the same complex, one city block from each other. There was no way to know, standing in the dark pickup lane at 6 in the morning, that it wouldn't have mattered which plane either of them boarded. If Paige switched flights to spend a few thousand miles, Ruth kept the original booking. Two different decisions, two different planes, and both of them ended in the same two towers, 17 minutes apart. The miles never really mattered at all. Nothing either of them could have chosen that morning would have. Our thoughts are with them. This has been 9/11 Stories, true accounts of the passengers, crew, and people who lived it.